Good morning. You are good mid-morning, I guess it is. You're listening to Good Medicine. I'm Holly Davis, and I'm a therapist here in Las Vegas, counselor. I prefer to be called counselor. Therapist kind of sounds menacing in a way, or I don't know. I just kind of have this feeling or an overall sense that therapy and counseling guidance is still kind of in the dark ages when it comes to needing help. That means that there's something wrong with me or that I'm crazy but you know what? I really truly believe that mental health should be a way of the future. Mental health and mental health behavior, it should be a science. It's an art, and it's nothing new on the planet. There are people on this planet who their gift is listening to people and caring about people, and there's many waters in a man, and a person of understanding draws them out. So there's a gift there. And the people who are licensed and that you find an alliance with and that you can talk to are very good people. And if you can find somebody like that to process some of the issues that you're having, you're very fortunate, very blessed indeed. I know that that's happened in my life, and it changed my life forever, and I wanted to help people from that point on because I know what the value is of having a very dear friend that you can talk to in confidentiality, and they don't give you advice, they don't tell you what to do, they listen and care, and that giving you a voice can change your life. And I know that. So my number is 702-626-9400 if you want any more information on that. If I can give you more education about what is psychiatry, that is people who actually give medication for people who have mental illness symptoms that are disordering their life. I personally believe that psychology, what I do, is called healing the soul. That work in conjunction with the medications, the psychotropic medications, is the way to go. So if you take a pill, it doesn't make your problems, your anxiety, or your depression go away. Therapy we know that it works. We know that it works. People's lives are changed through therapy. So that's what I do, why I do what I do. I want to give some shout outs to some people that help me to do what I do. Gina is just one of my favorite stores in town. It really, truly is. I go in there and it's therapeutic, it's healing, just the smells, the sounds, the colors, the flooring, the jewelry, all of her products are such top quality products, and it's a little store here in Las Vegas. I don't spend that much money. We're talking about money today, by the way. But when I do spend money and I give myself a treat, which I'm a big believer in giving yourself a treat, rewarding yourself, there's nothing better than to eat, drink, and be merry. If you work hard, and most of us do, I believe, in our own estimation, if you work hard, you should also reward yourself with some of the hard work, and there is nothing better than to eat, drink, and be merry. And so for me, when I want to give myself self-care or give myself a treat, that's where I go. That is my place. So, and I want to plug her store. It's Gina Positive Living in Sin City, and it's at 6835 West Tropicana. It's Suite 100. Go. And I can personally guarantee you will not regret going, because it is just a healing place. And tell Gina I said hi. Gina. She's amazing. And her number, if you want more information, is 702-998-4748. It's in the Spanish Trails Business Park, and it's kind of behind the Walgreens. So it's not hard to find. Go back there and find it. It's a little oasis. So my guest today is Yvonne Lubsey, and she's actually a very good friend of mine. Of course, all the guests are. And she's a financial representative of Country Financial. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Holly.
I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you came.
I'm glad you invited me here, too.
And thanks for putting up with the rescheduling and scheduling, and we worked it out.
That's okay. I'm used to that in my line of business.
Oh, I bet. Me too. Okay,
Yes.
Let me just say that. You know, I do appreciate when people show up and do what they say they're going to do and be there, and I like being that kind of person too. So I'm glad that it worked out. And not only that, because when I think about some of the people that I work with in some of the various populations, and just in my own life, and a bigger picture of life in general, and this is timeless, the worry and the stress of finances.
Yes.
Can anybody out there relate to the worry and the stress?
I am sure a lot of people can.
I think it is a huge source of sickness.
Yes.
It's a huge source of sickness.
I would want to agree with that.
So, and it doesn't have to be, because does that mean that is it a pill? Is it the perception of what we think about money? I think that it is. I think it's our perception of money and what it really is and what the point is. It's a tool.
It is.
And it can flow in your life and flow out, and it can be used powerfully, or it can be the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil, and some of the things that it makes people do because you have a perception that without it, you're powerless.
Yes.
And Coco Chanel, I read a great quote from her this morning. She goes, there are wealthy people and there are rich people. And I want to have a rich, wonderful life. Everybody does. Everybody wants those things. But I want to be wealthy and successful in other ways. And I know for me that the lack and the flow of money can definitely change my attitude and my experiences in life.
I believe so too.
And so when you're dealing with people, or even the atmosphere that we're experiencing in our country and in the world, the financial crisis, and then that word gets out, financial crisis, and we've got to hang on to every dime, and we've got to take and step, I really believe there's a way to obtain money, to have it, and to have peace.
Yes.
And that's why you're here with us today.
Today
You're going to reiterate that.
Yes.
I can't confirm or deny this. I can't confirm it, but I think it was Mother Teresa. And she was talking about, she held up her hands like a bowl, and she said, money is like a bird. It should be able to fly in and fly out, and fly in and fly out. If you try to capture that bird and you're going to snuff out the life of it, it should be able to just flow, because money should flow.
Yes, I believe that too.
Well, we all want more flow.
Yes.
Can I get an amen in there? We all
Amen.
want more flow. Here's my personal opinion, and I want you to, you're free to share yours, and I know that you have some actual steps to unblock those flows, and that's why we're so grateful that you're here with us today. But my opinion is that worry blocks our flow of finances. So, look at the flowers, they're beautifully dressed, or the birds that don't spin or toil. They always have food. We don't need to worry about what we're going to wear and what we're going to drink. Worry. Now, I didn't say that we have to sit and not move. I'm just saying that we don't have to worry, because it doesn't add.
I think sometimes what worry does is that it paralyzes us. And even concerning your finances, you may have someone who thinks, oh, I should have started saving long ago, and I haven't. And instead of doing something, we just do nothing. But we don't have to be paralyzed by worrying that you don't have money. I think the thing that needs to happen is that you need to take action.
Okay.
Right where you are, start doing something.
Okay, I love that. Being proactive. Don't
Yeah.
let life just plow you down.
Exactly.
And especially the worry of money. Now, money, we know, is powerful, and I think there's a perception that if you don't have money, you can't do anything. Is that erroneous?
Yes, a lot of people think that, yes.
So what if people started changing their perceptions of money? Could that be a good place to start?
Yes, I believe that could be a good place to start.
And for me, what I mean about the perceptions of money is, I think if you would look in your own lives about what you thought about money as a kid, what you think about money now, how your parents thought about money and how they dealt with it.
Yeah.
So, for example, I know my grandparents, I think they paid for their house, they owned it. It wasn't, $350,000, I think it was $35,000, and they saved and worked, and they paid those houses off. I think some of the culture and the atmosphere that we experience is we want things now. We want it on credit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so am I onto something?
Oh, yes, you are.
I don't know if that's working for us.
It has been shown that it's not working. A lot of people get caught up in just having a lot of credit cards and not knowing how to use it, and they spend as if somebody else is going to pay for it when the bill comes around. And so we have to be educated as to how you go about using those credits.
Charge. It is a very powerful tool. You don't really see it, you don't feel it. It doesn't hurt as bad when you charge it. When that statement comes, and you look at the interest,
Exactly.
and you understand that that credit card could take you several years to pay off, and that one thing that you bought for $10 is
End
going
up
to
costing you $200.
$200. I mean, think about that. That is really interesting. And however, it doesn't deter people from using the card or
You're
misusing
still using it. Yeah.
still using it. But the perception of money, what you thought about it, how you feel about it, if you feel like it's a negative thing, if you hate money. I've heard people say that. I hate money. What? Don't hate the money. Hate the way that you're using it, and
Yes.
decide you want to change, that this is
Yes.
enough.
I totally agree with that. I think that is a problem. The money itself is not a problem. It's basically how we use it. You know, how perception of it. If we think that, okay, it's just there to be used, and as soon as it comes in, we use it. And when we find ourselves without money, then we stress about it. You know, that is going to lead us down a path of debt and not having a secured financial future. Whereas if you think that money is a tool that you use to do other things, then you will have a different outlook on life, and your life will be different.
I think it really is how you perceive it, what your experience, what your thoughts are about money. And if you have negative thoughts and you think of it as something that is a bad thing, or that I never have it, I never have it, I never have enough. One of my favorite lines in a movie is when Scarlett O'Hara, do you guys remember Gone with the Wind? She was starving. The world had been pillaged that she knew. And she was standing on a farm, and she was standing in the garden, and she was looking, and she found a radish, you know, and of course she wasn't going to share that radish with anybody, and she ate it, and it was disgusting, it was rotten, she spit it out. She holds that radish up, and she's like, as God is my witness, I'm never going to be hungry again. And I love that determination, and I really truly believe if the first thing that you did right now, today, was to say, I'm never going to be without money again. If I start saving it now, putting it in my pocket, store it in the places that you need to store it, putting in the places that are safe, making it work for you, investing it, not hoarding it and capturing it like Mother Teresa was saying. Don't just smash it down. Use it as a tool, and saying, you know what, I'm never going to be hungry again. I'm never going to not have anymore. So just kind of changing it and actually just putting it out there with a statement.
I agree with you, Holly. We have to be intentional about what we do with money. We have to. And that all comes with us developing that habit of just putting something away. We do get money, but we also have to spend it and also give some away. You know,
I like that.
We have to be very intentional about what we do with it. We can't give all of it away, and we can't spend all of it. So we have to be intentional about how we use the money that we get.
Those are really, really great points. I like that. I think the idea of giving money away and giving, I'm not saying frivolously, but I'm thinking giving, saving, and giving that money to organizations or persons, places, or things that are in alignment with your values.
Your values and your beliefs, yes.
So that doesn't mean that when Johnny or Susie or Bobo or whoever calls you, you know, auntie or uncle or whatever says, hey, you know, I really like to have some money, or your friends or whatever. I think wisdom.
You have to be smart about it.
Yeah, you know, and they have to be able to solve some of their problems as well. But, you know, if you believe that that's what you're supposed to do, without making them pay it back or holding it over their head, because everybody needs a hand up one time in their life. I can assure you
with that.
of
Yes.
that. And we've all been in that place. So for me, with when people ask, and I have, I like to give.
Yes.
I find it... It makes me not worry so much and think about myself giving.
Yes.
What about the people on the side of the road? Do you stop and give if you feel like you should?
Yeah, I think it's a personal decision. You decide if you should give this person or not.
Yeah, if I have it and they're close and I can not, not cause wrecks or what I do, because I love being a giver. I want to tell you a story, and then we'll get into our finances and we'll take a break. But yesterday, it was just one of those days. You have the days where just every door shut, everything that you tried to open, it just was kind of everything was contrived and forced. Everybody's had that day. I know. For me, that was yesterday. And I felt like I was chained to the desk and I had to do a lot of work. And I'm not a paperwork person. I'm a people work person. I love people. So it changes Holly from the happy-go-lucky, fun person to a little bit of a, not grumpy, but it changes my mood and the side of the brain that I'm working on. It's all thinking instead of more of the feeling and feeling good. And so I was just having those days where I didn't feel very good. And I had gotten an invite from a friend of mine. Her name is Shaylani. Hi, Shaylani. And she had invited me to come out after work. So now you're talking about working all day and then committing to go do something. And it wasn't even a commitment. It was like, oh, I'd like to go check this out. She has an organization, and it's called KIDZ is for Kids, KIDZ. And you can look it up if you're listening. I hope you're listening. If you're listening and you want to look it up, you can go to the website. It's KIDZ is for Kids, KIDZ.org, or just call 702-879-KIDZ. So we went to the organization. I brought my kids. And what she does is she inspires people so amazingly, and I'm so glad I made the choice, first of all, to do what I said I was going to do, because you'll be very pleasantly surprised every time you keep your word and do something, even when it hurts or you don't want to, you don't feel like it, just go. And I kind of even had this underlying feeling that if I went, that it was going to be very healing, medicinal. Yep. Good medicine. I knew it was. I knew it. And so pleasantly pleased when she works with people of all ages, mostly adolescents, but younger adults who have autism and Down syndrome. And when I walked in, they were doing this dance. Can you feel it? The Michael Jackson dance. The minute I walked in, my smile, the feeling of warmth, the joy. I mean, I didn't know if I wanted to laugh. I didn't know if I wanted to cry. I can't even tell you the feeling of joy.
Wow.
Just going and supporting them and saying, you guys are amazing. And I got the most incredible hugs. They had the most incredible group hugs. And so, an organization like that, they need people to sponsor them. And I think it's $75 to sponsor a kid a month, which means that the parents who have children with special needs would get a respite. That's invaluable for 2 times a week, 3 hours each time. That's a lot of time to invest in your child, to inspire them with the fine arts. And I mean, I can't think of a better way. And they are also looking for another studio where they can continue to teach kids not only dance, but drama. And these kids, they were just amazing. And so I just want to say thank you so much, Shaylani, for inviting me. I am so glad. I am so glad.
Glad you went.
So glad. So we are going to take a little break. We are talking about money today. And so money.
Money, money, money.
Money. How to make it work for you, how to release the fears, and how to actually have some peace. With my guest, Yvonne Lubsey, and she is a financial representative with Country Financial. So stay with Good Medicine. There's some good medicine coming up. You want to listen to this. Stay with us.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Oh, sorry, that was kind of loud. I'm happy. What can I say? You know what? There is nothing better than us to eat, drink, and be merry and happy. And I think that if we change our perceptions, today we're talking about money, changing your perceptions of money, that it's not evil. I can't help but clap on this part. I'm sorry. Not when I'm driving, or on the radio program. You can't help but to dissipate some of that fear and the worry and really a misconception of what money is and what the purpose and the power and the strength of using it properly. It's like a tool. You have to use it right.
It is. It is a tool.
So I have a very good friend here today, Yvonne Lubsey, and she's a financial representative of Country Financial. She's an amazing lady. And I want to say this too. There's some people out there who might say, I'm not a money person. I don't know. I'm not a math person, not a morning person. You ever hear people say that?
Yes, I've heard that. Oh, yes.
You mean I have to know what's in my bank account and what I've spent all my money on?
Oh, yes, you
and
need
make
to.
a budget? That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I'm going to step right in, and the first thing I'm gonna have you really stress to everyone is how important is it to save your money?
Holly, I think that that is so important. Whether it's for a rainy day or it's for your retirement down the road, you have to have something set aside to secure your financial future. It is so important for you to do that. We know how, as mothers, we have these surprises that crop up in our lives. We have to take our kids to the ER.
Broken limbs.
Broken limbs, yes. Or it can be just a last-minute trip that you have to take out of town.
What about wills?
To go visit someone who is ill. You know, these cost money. And having a robust savings account means that you don't have to worry because you're covered, whatever life throws at you.
You know what? I love what you just said. Robust savings. Doesn't that sound wonderful to everyone?
It
because
does.
Life pops up.
It does.
Seriously, think about the car thing. Even just having a car is a luxury.
It is.
And the wheels, replacing wheels, they all have to be replaced. And it is very expensive.
Very expensive.
The maintenance, gas.
Yes. And it's good to not have to worry when these surprises crop up in your life.
And
because
they will.
They do happen, yes. So having a robust savings account help you feel like you're covered and you don't have to worry that much.
So what you're saying is if we save our money, that we take some of that stress, the anxiety.
I do believe
The fear.
that. It does.
And you have more choices and more power. If you've ever paid off a car, you ever feel the freedom?
Oh, yes.
Pay off that credit card that you don't have to call those
Yes,
people
pay
anymore.
off that loan. Because it does feel like a burden when you have a loan and you have to be making these payments month after month after month. So it is a relief when you have it paid off.
You know what? I thought of one of my very favorite quotes. It's actually a scripture about money, and it says, "Oh, no man anything but the continual debt of love."
That's good. That's good advice.
That's some good medicine. You guys jot that down? Oh, no man anything but the continual debt of love. Now, you know what? Guess what? Sometimes you do owe people money.
Yeah.
You've borrowed, or you owe people money, or you owe companies money. That doesn't mean they own your soul. That doesn't mean they can talk to you and treat you like you're a floating entity of nothingness. So you still have value just because you owe somebody money. They don't negate who you are as a person.
No, I don't think so.
Do you ever find that that's how people feel? Like, oh my gosh, I owe them money, and I can't go on a day and have a happy day because I've got something due.
You do have some people who feel that way, but for the most part, I don't think most people think like that. Some people will go about being very stressed about the fact that they owe some money, but there are good debts and there are bad debts. So you just want to make sure that you have more of the good debts than the bad debts.
Absolutely, because the bills are going to come up every month, and if you're investing your money, if you have that money coming up and it goes to a certain allotted place, that does feel good.
It does.
You know, my dad, he's one of the most giving, loving people on the planet. And I remember, because this goes back to what your philosophy is about money, and it's framed when we're children. And I remember, this was back in the day when you would put gas in the car, and if you went over, you'd have to go back and pay if you did. And my dad was the kind of man that if you went over a penny, he'd go back and pay that penny. And he'd always say, no, don't leave anything in the car. We want to keep people honest. Or he would say, if you owe somebody money and you spend any other money you owe, that you're spending that person's money. Interesting concept, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting. If you owe somebody money and you spend from that money that you owe.
Well, if say I owe you $100, but I go down to Starbucks and buy myself a $5 coffee, I just spent your money. I should have given you back your money. Okay, so he's a believer in
paying back your debt, and I believe that too.
And you know, and I know there's times when really you can't. There's bankruptcy, there's year of jubilee, there's asking people for forgiveness and extensions, and just putting yourself at rest. Look, you can make a payment plan and save your money at the same time. Do you believe that's true?
Yes, I believe you can.
And how do you do that? How do you develop that habit?
Developing a habit of saving, Holly, comes from you being intentional. You have to be very thoughtful of how you spend your money. In order to do so, you can create a spreadsheet that records all of your spending. I find that many people, when they see how much they spend, they are shocked. But being intentional about looking at your spending habits and being able to now set goals, you can start saving that way.
I'm going to throw in a question. Of course, I'm going to do those kinds of things. But, you were talking about good debt as well. This is just my personal philosophy, and I just want to see what you think about this. A good debt for me, and this is something, a very incredible guy, he wasn't a doctor, is Larry Burkett. You remember Money Matters back in the day, the radio program? Okay, it was a little older. Anybody else remember Money Matters? Money Matters. Okay, one person, all right, I'll take it. But he would say, he said one debt, and I don't want to misquote him, but the gist of it is that if you're going to invest in yourself in education.
Yes, that is one of the good debts.
So we're
Yes.
right? We're right on. High five on that one. Okay. Because you're investing in yourself.
Yes.
You're changing your stars. You're educating yourself to do something. And I was thinking about that this morning, that maybe my parents or their parents before them would be like, okay, go get a good job that pays good money. And what I like to teach my children or the people that I work with is do what you love. And if it requires you going to get an education, make sure you do it right. Do that too. Be instant in season and study to show yourself approved.
Yes.
That you know what you're talking about.
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
That's one good debt. that
Okay.
we encourage.
All right. We nailed it on that one. All right. We are going to take a small break, and we're going to talk about how early we should start saving. Should we start saving today? And exactly how do we say? We're going to give you step by step with Yvonne Lebsey. She is a financial representative from Country Financial, and you are listening to Good Medicine. You are listening to Good Medicine. That's one of my favorite money songs, I got to tell you. Bullet Boys from the 80s. Yeah, turn that radio song up, and they did such a good version of that song. The Mean Green, Almighty Dollar. You know, money is really, it can be your friend. Money can be your friend. You know, people don't want to be nonchalant about money. No one is. But I can tell you right now that the numbers are the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Money is a tool.
It is.
And used properly, I think it can make you very happy.
It can.
It can be very powerful. By the way, I do need to pay the bills around here myself. I would love it if the Good Medicine listeners would go to my website. It's called Good Medicine Ranch, www.goodmedicineranch.com. And on that web page, you can see where my blog is. I love to write, and I wrote a book a few years ago. It's been too long. I need to write another book. I'm in the process. I have like 3 or 4 books I'm writing at one time. I think maybe I need to focus on a couple. Maybe one. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love writing. It's very medicinal for me. It's good medicine for me to write. And so the first book that I ever wrote, I just kind of tried my hand at it by writing someone else's story. It's easy to write someone else's story, much more intimate and vulnerable to write your own. And so a very lovely, beautiful person by the name of Tonki, who is a patriarch of American Indian people, amazing, amazing person. He's probably 84, 85 now, and he's on dialysis, and he still goes out and does powwows every single weekend, some of the largest gatherings in the world and in the nation. He is the MC over, so he's an amazing person. But not only that, so people look up to him and listen to him. But Grandfather Tonki also gives the stories, these folk tales that are amazing, and he let me write his life story, entrusted little old me, because I asked him to write his life story, and we preserve those folk tales. What a valuable thing for your children, for people with that particular nation group. It's the very smallest people group, and their stories and their ways should not be passed on people need to know and hear.
Should be passed on. I agree.
So if you want to buy the book, it's less than $6, and you can go right to www.goodmedicineranch.com and upload it right then and there today. That's all I got to say about that. So, Yvonne, seriously, one by one, how do we save? How should we start saving? When do we start saving?
Okay, when do we start saving? It's never too late to start saving. But the earlier you start, the better it will be for you. Because when you have time on your side, your money is able to work harder for you. So as soon as you can, I would encourage you to start saving. Now, how do you go about doing that? It can be as simple as setting up an automatic transfer between your checking and your savings account. Many people have a checking and a savings account, and our salary goes into the checking. So set up an automatic transfer to your savings account. That way it happens without you even having to do anything or without you having to see it. And that's a simple way of just getting it started.
How much?
Well, how much is going to depend on the amount of money that you have in your account. If you have a lot of disposable income, then you would be able to save a lot more than you would if you don't have a lot of disposable income. So it all depends on your particular situation.
Is there a percentage, or is there an amount, or do you have a certain rationale that you use just personally?
I like to set my savings goal, and based on what I want to save by what time, then I know how much I need to save.
That is great. That is great information. So I want everybody right now, put a number in your head of what you want to save.
Yes.
And how long. Now, I don't even care if it's unreasonable. If you just started this goal, envisioned and saw what you want in your account and by what day, I think that is a very good way to just start right now to change your perception and give you an intention, a goal, a
Yes,
dream.
so you can set small goals. Start with small goals, and then you can short-term goals, and then you can set longer-term goals. So just start with something, because sometimes you start with something that might be big, and then you feel like you can't achieve it, so you don't bother, but start wherever you can start today.
Make it easy for yourself, because I think the easier you make it for yourself, because we have a tendency to, if it's too hard, or
We don't do it.
We don't do
Or
it.
We stop after the second month, but we want to make it something that you will want to continue doing.
okay, so we're going to hook up our checking and our saving, and we're going to automatically take money out every month, and you
Right.
come up with a goal and something that's comfortable for you. So here's the big word of the day, the B word, the budget.
Yes.
Why is that such a daunting? I mean, I'm talking because you know and I know that there's other people around here that have always just had such a big, why is it such a big deal to make a budget?
Holly, I don't know why it is such a big deal, because having a budget, I think, can be very simple. It doesn't have to be an extravagant spreadsheet that some people will use. It can be a simple book that you have, that you record how much money comes into your account or your pocket and how much goes out. And it keeps you accountable. So you have an idea of your spending habits. You see where most of your money is going. And I have found in my dealing with a lot of my clients, having to sit down and help them with a budget, they often are very surprised as to where some of the money goes. Sometimes they don't know where some of it goes, because, sometimes we're in the habit of, we walk past a store as women and they're having a sale, and we think that we have to buy that. We don't need it, but because it's on sale, we have to buy it. And so before you know it, we're spending $50 or $100 there that we didn't plan to spend. And then we don't have any money left to save. So being conscious of how you spend your money helps you to be able to set short-term and then long-term goals. And having a budget helps you to be accountable for the money that comes into your pocket or your account and what you do with it.
I like that. You know, I incorporate that philosophy with my children starting very young. How many of you take the kids with you to the grocery store regularly? And they always want. Mom, can we have this? Mom, can we have that? Or they'll throw things in the basket. Not that my children do that, but I'm sure other people. My kids are 12 and 13. They're still in the basket. I don't even let them out. No, I'm not kidding. So, but when we take them to the grocery store, I used to hear, and I've heard it before, and I hear other moms say, or dads, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. And what I do is sometimes we look at the meal planning together, and then we also go to the store and we make a list. And then we stick to the list. And so instead of saying, we can't afford that, or no, you can't have that, because I love to give to my kids. I really, really
we
love.
all do as parents.
Yes, I love them to have whatever they want. And then most of the times it's unreasonable. They don't need it. It's silly. And every once in a while, of course, you know, we're going to go to the One-Armed Bandit or go to the little candy machine or their balloon or something like that. Little things that make kids really happy. And they make adults happy too. Little things make us happy. But I like to think of it like this. It's not. It's a real beautiful goal to stick with a list. So I'll say it's not on the list.
Right.
Oh, I apologize. That's
Yes.
not on the list. So thinking of budget in terms of you can't spend. Think of it in terms as this is my list, and I'm going to challenge myself to stick with it.
With your list, yes. To stay within that budget.
Is it hard for you to stay on your budget?
No, it isn't. I believe initially it might be difficult, but when you develop the habit of doing it, it becomes easy.
So it's just a habit. It's like flossing. If you get into the habit, it's easy.
Yes, it's easy. And the sooner you start, the better. And even starting with kids, I think it is so important to start with kids, having them, you know, develop an appreciation for money and how to use it as a tool. It is very important. I remember back when I was a child in kindergarten, we had a savings fund at our school, and that was how I started my habit of saving. We looked forward every Friday, whether it was $1 or $2, to take up to our teacher, and she would enter that amount in our savings account and record our names, and we would feel good to see the amounts add up. And after a while, you get accustomed to seeing your money grow, and you feel good about it. You know, so starting early, I think, is so important. But regardless of where you're at, if you didn't start early, it's important for you to start, so you can start today.
Start saving today. And there's ways to do that can actually make it easier so that you can ease the stress. There's tips, there's things like that you can do. If it's not too late to start today. You can create a budget, being intentional, looking at your spending habits and how you do spend. It really, it's like looking at a mirror, taking the time.
That is so important. I must say that almost everyone that I have sat with to do a budget, they're usually very shocked at where the money goes. You know, and so being aware of your spending habits is so important to start setting a saving goal.
So I can see Yvonne as a little kindergartner over there watching that money grow and going, oh, wow, I can get into this, and then I can help others. That's really great.
Oh, yes.
And you'll sit down and you will help people with a budget, getting them started.
That's what I do.
Okay, I'm going to give people your number.
Sure.
Is this a good number?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Yvonne Lebsey, she's a financial representative. She's with Country Financial. She's amazing. She will sit down there and hold your hand through the budgeting process. It's very empowering. And her number, if you are interested, is 702-873-6442. So for those listeners who are already saving and budgeting, what would you be able to help them with?
Okay, so for those who are already doing that, I would say good job. Keep it up. What I would, however, encourage is that you review your budget periodically. There are times when we pay these expenses and they're consistent, we continue paying them, but there's always room for saving more. And so you may look at, for example, your energy bill. You might be paying $150 or $200 a month, and look at it and say, but I could save some more money here. So you could be more conservative with your appliances at home. Pay attention to be energy efficient, and you might be able to save yourself a $20 here or a $50 there, and put that towards your savings. So that's just one simple way that you can use to save some more money. I mean, it's always good to save more because it helps you to feel more confident about your future when you do.
So even the seasoned budgeters and financiers, and how do you feel about coupons?
I like coupons. Anything that can save me money, I like.
You like it?
Yeah.
Me too. I really do. I enjoy a nice coupon and big sales and things like
Yes.
that. What about through those moms, those parents, those teachers out there? They're getting ready for school to start, and they all have to have new shoes and new pencils and new paper. What would you do if you had to go take your kids school shopping today? What would be the first person, place, or thing that you would do?
Well, the first thing I would do is look at what they already have at home.
There's an idea.
Yeah.
Inventory.
Yes, take a look at what they have. Do they really need a new bag?
You know Jansen's bags? They're
Yes.
lifetime guarantee.
Exactly.
One time you buy that thing. I'm just saying.
It may just be that they need to wash it.
What about shoes? Wash them.
What about shoes? It may just mean that you need to wash them too. So do you need to get a new pair of shoes? Do you need to get a new bag? So that is where I'll start. Look at what they have at home, and then if it is that they really need it, then I'll go out and get it.
Okay, let's just be real here. What are some of the things that you actually spend on that you may not need, but just luxury items just for you, just on a personal note?
Just on a personal note, luxury item. I love perfume. Yeah, I treat myself to that.
I was just going to throw something out there. What about Blue Mountain Coffee? I'm just saying.
Well, I love coffee, but I don't drink it a lot. So I don't spend a lot of money on coffee. That's my weakness. My weakness is perfumes.
Perfume?
Yes, I love
That's
nice
the Achilles
fragrances.
heel, just so you know.
Yes.
Guys. Coco Chanel. Okay.
But that's just once in a while. So I treat myself every now and again. But then if I have to, I'm on a budget and I'm saving towards something, then that has to take a back seat too.
Okay, I like that. I like the diligence. What about buying a big, huge vat of the coffee instead of the $5 coffee from XYZ? For $5 you could buy a month's worth of coffee. Does that make sense? And
well, for me, Holly, it depends. If I'm going to spend a lot of money to buy a huge vat of coffee that's probably going to last me a year, it may save me $5 or $10 here. But you can also look at it this way. You have all this coffee your money's tied up in all this coffee that's going to last you a year. If something comes up that you need some of that money for, where do you get it? So you can look at it that way, or you can also say, what if something happens? The coffee, something spills into that coffee, or you lose all of that money. So there's a way of looking at it as saving over the long run, but also too, it depends on what it is. You may not want to tie up too much of your money in buying a huge bulk of it.
Or of anything, buying in bulk.
Yes.
Interesting. You bring on a lot of interesting perspectives that I might not have thought of. That's why you're a financial representative. Yvonne Lubsey is my guest today. You're listening to Good Medicine, and she's with Country Financial. I'm going to give you that number, 702-873-6442. We're going to take a small little last breaky, and just some of your top points that you really want to emphasize to people who want to reduce stress about money, just have some financial peace. How to get it. You're listening to Good Medicine.
Things in life are free, but you can keep them for the birds and bees. Now give me more. What I want, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
I know you're dancing around. I can see you. John, I see you dancing. We have some dancers here. Money, that's what I want. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I want money. I like money. Is it wrong to want money?
No. How else do you pay your bills? How else do you live the life that you want?
And it's okay to live a beautiful life.
Oh, yes, it is.
Full of good things.
It is.
Nothing better than to eat, drink, and be merry. I'm just saying, it's okay if you want money. You're not a bad person. Everybody does what they do because they need to have that tool working for them and having the life that they want. It's not. There's no reason to feel guilty because you want a beautiful life. I encourage that behavior every day.
That.
How,
totally agree.
How do you? And I know that you've actually worked with me too with nonprofit organizations helping ladies. We work with the Cupcake Girls, and it is a nonprofit organization here, and we are working with people in the sex industry, sex workers in the sex industry, because guess what? They're out there about, we don't really know the numbers. You know some of the numbers?
No, I'm not sure what they're...
We'd have to ask Joy Hoover. She's the president. But let's just say it's a $60 billion industry. Do you think that there's some people out there who are working in the adult entertainment industry? Yes, they do. So what we do with the Cupcake Girls, not to throw us off a loop here, but we actually empower the people who work in that industry. So I know that you've even volunteered your time and energy to help with, why would they need help with finances? It's an interesting question, but really more times than not, what I've experienced is it's usually not plan A. It's been a plan B, and empowering them with their finances and their career and a voice has been such an amazing experience. And I'm so glad that you are a fellow Cupcake Girl with me, because it is an amazing organization. If there's listeners who want to know more about it, it's thecupcakegirls.org. I believe it is the Las Vegas Cupcake Girls. Look it up. You'll find it. So what do you think are some of the main points that you would want to stress to listeners today about finances?
Okay, so what I'd like to say is that it's never too early or too late to start saving. I know that sometimes people who think that they should have started long ago will just become overwhelmed and not be able to do anything. So my encouragement to you today is just to start. Just start something. Simply set up a transfer between your checking and savings account and get started. It may be $50 you're able to save per month, or $100. But guess what? 6 months down the line, you're going to have $300 that you would not have had you not start saving. So start saving something today. Be very intentional about your saving. Look at your spending habit. Create a budget. Make sure that you know what money is coming in and where that money is going. There are so many apps out there today, Holly, that are very easy to use and very convenient, that can help you with making a budget. And they also create alerts for you that lets you know when you are approaching the limits that you have set for spending for a particular category. Right.
So it's like a Fitbit for money kind of a thing?
Yes, it
That's
is.
interesting.
So
Interesting.
there are stuff out there to help you. So
What's your favorite app?
Find those.
Can't say? Okay. Find it.
Find
We can
those and
find it.
use
We
them.
live in the age of communication. You go find that app, because I know it's out there. And if the Fitbit helps you and you kind of see where you're at with you need to exercise, or what you're eating, or you're not eating enough, or just getting that estimation of where you're at, knowing where you're at's kind of half the battle, isn't it?
Yes. And review your budget periodically to see where else you can cut back, because there's always room for saving more.
So be wise with your money, and if you're not, you need help, I can tell you somebody who can help you. Yvonne Lubsey, she's my guest today on Good Medicine, financial representative with Country Financial. And please call. Don't delay. If there's fear in your life, if you're stressed out, get some help. I'm a big believer in getting the help that you need. And that's what this program does, is we get you the help that you need. So 702-873-6442. Country Financial representative is Yvonne Lubsey. Listen, we want you to have a beautiful, wonderful life. Plan and save for a vacation. Is that a good investment with your friends and family? Yeah, that's what I'm saving for. And hey, you know what? Money can't buy you love, like a great philosopher once said, but let me tell you something. It does take away the stress and the fear if you know how to use that money as a tool.
Does.
Save, save, save. We love you. You're listening to Good Medicine on Vegas All Night Radio.
You can say you love me too. I may not have a lot to give, but what I got, I'll give to you.